There are some movies you finish and immediately want to talk about. And then there are movies that make you sit quietly for a while because you don't know how to put what you feel into words yet. And A Silent Voice is the second kind for me. I've rewatched this film more times than I can count, and every time it just hits differently. It's not that it became less or more dramatic, it's just deeper. It's not a movie that tries to shock you or lecture you about the mental health that it talks about. It just shows it, quietly, honestly, and sometimes painfully. So, the story follows Ishida Shoya, a boy who used to bully his deaf classmate, a girl named Nishia Shoko, when they were children. And the story follows Ishida about how years later, Ishida is dealing with the consequences of what he did through social isolation, guilt, and a very real desire to disappear. At its core, A Silent Voice is about bullying, disability, and forgiveness. But more than that, it's about mental health, especially the kind that doesn't get talked about openly, like guilt, self loathing, anxiety, and suicidal thoughts. What I appreciate most about this movie is how real it feels. Ishida isn't portrayed as a dramatic villain that turns sane. He's just broken. The way the film shows his depression is subtle but heavy. He avoids eye contact. People's faces are crossed out in his mind. He believes that he doesn't deserve kindness. And that visual choice alone says so much. Mental health issues aren't always loud breakdowns or crime scenes. Sometimes it's just feeling disconnected from everyone around you, even when you're physically there. The film doesn't romanticize his pain. It doesn't say, "Look how tragic this is." Instead, it lets you feel the weight of living with constant guilt and shame. And then there's Nishimiya. Nishimiya is deaf, but the movie makes it clear that her biggest struggle isn't just communication. It's how deeply she blames herself for other people's suffering. She apologizes for existing and she believes that she is a burden. Watching that hurts in a very specific way. One thing I really respect is that the movie never excuses Ishida and his friends' bullying. The movie doesn't show something that says like, "Oh, they were just a kid, so it's fine." But it shows the damage, long-term damage, especially to Ishida and to Nishimiya and to everyone that was involved. Mental health here isn't treated as something that magically heals through apology. Healing is slow, awkward, uncomfortable, and sometimes people fail. Sometimes they can hurt each other again without meaning to. And that honesty is rare. Another reason this movie stays with me is the animation. Not because it's flashy or overly dramatic, but because it knows exactly when to be quiet and when to linger. And this is why I love Kyoto Animation so much. They did something really special with this movie, and the character movements feel small and human. Awkward pauses, deep body language, eyes that look away instead of meeting someone else's gaze. A lot of emotions in these films aren't spoken out loud. They're shown through posture, framing, and timing. Some scenes are slow on purpose, and I love that. The camera often stays a little longer than expected, letting discomfort sit there instead of brushing past it. You feel the weight of silence in conversation and the tension in group scenes, and the loneliness in wide shots where a character feels completely out of place. The visual metaphor of crossing out people's faces is one of the strongest choices in the film. It's simple, but it communicates social anxiety and isolation so clearly without explaining it. And when those crosses slowly start to fall away, it feels earned, quiet, emotional but not forced. Even the everyday settings like the classroom, the bridge, the streets, the river, it feels important. They're familiar, almost mundane, but they carry so much emotional history for the characters. Certain locations repeat, and each time they do, the meaning shifts a little. The animation doesn't try to distract you, it supports the story. It trusts you to notice small details, and that restraint is what makes the heavy moments hit harder. I love this movie because it doesn't pretend that love or friendship fixes everything instantly. It shows that wanting to live is sometimes a choice that you have to make every day. That forgiving yourself can be harder than forgiving yourself. That connection doesn't come from grand gestures, but from small, awkward attempts to keep going. Every time I watch it, this film feels like it understands people who struggles quietly. When I think about why A Silent Voice stays with me, it's not just the story or the themes, it's the way everything comes together so quietly. The animation, the pacing, the silence, the awkward pauses between words. Nothing feels rushed. Nothing feels like it's trying to prove a point. There are scenes in this movie where almost nothing happens on the surface. Characters standing still, someone looking away, a conversation that doesn't quite go right. But emotionally, too much is happening underneath, and the animation gives those moments space to exist. Trust the viewer to sit with them instead of moving on quickly. I really love how the film understands that healing isn't dramatic. There's no big speech where everything suddenly makes sense. Instead, you get small changes, finally able to make eye contact, and those cross out marks finally falling away. I really love how the movie understands that healing isn't dramatic. There's no big speech when everything may suddenly make sense. Instead, you get small changes, like being able to finally make eye contact, and those crossed out faces finally falling away, and a character choosing to stay instead of leaving. Those moments feel meaningful because the movie has been patient with us the entire time. Every rewatch feels personal in a different way. Sometimes I relate more to Ishida and sometimes to Nishimiya, sometimes to the people around them, the other characters. The film doesn't tell you who to side with emotionally. It just shows people doing their best, failing, and trying again. That's why I love this movie so much. Not because it's perfect or because it has a clean, comforting message, but because it feels honest about how hard it can be to live with yourself and how small acts of connection can slowly make things lighter. A Silent Voice doesn't demand your attention, it earns it. And long after the movie ends, the quiet moments are the ones that stay with me the longest.